They are like us. They are like us. They are like us. They like us, man. Be like me. We like me. Be black like me. This is Brother Ron on We All Be. We all be in it to win it. What it do? What it do? I'm hoping that I'm coming in through the ones and the twos. I'm about to check, make sure I got my audio correct. About to check it out, y'all. Check it out. Check it out, y'all. Check it out. This is Brother Ron. Okay. Okay. Everything working, man. It okay. It's okay. Everything's working. Hey, it's been a minute, y'all. This is Brother Ron. All right. I am back. Man. Oh, it's been an incredible ride. Thank y'all for being very patient. I actually well, I'm trying to understand. People been reaching out to me. Thank you for. I appreciate it. One love, Ray. One love. Thank you so much. Uh, I just want to clarify some stuff right quick, and we'll get into what I brought you all here to do. Support the show. It's very important to support the show, so we can glow and flow, so we can do what it do. So I appreciate that. But it's very important. It's very important. Do some housekeeping. Like I'm actually in the process of moving my operation from YouTube. Like the We All Be TV channel has been under attack by YouTube by YT with no KY has been attacking We All Be. And so We All Be got a clue. So it's time for us to shift our gears, pivot. Right now we're living in some very interesting times where freedom of speech freedom of speech does not really exist anymore. We just it was ironic because the government just got through acknowledging or celebrating Juneteenth, saying that they freed the slaves, and the slaves didn't know they were free until they told them they were free. So what do you think about that? And then they didn't know until like it was late after the fact. And there's a case to be made that slavery did not end with Juneteenth, because it did not end with Juneteenth, just like slavery did not end with the Civil War. Just like didn't end with the Civil War. But I want to talk about a couple of things tonight. Uh, yeah, man, like support what we're doing. Like I want to share some things about, well, how can you listen to Brother Ron? Because I've been making videos and stuff like that. I have not been going live, but I have been recording videos, my thoughts about current events. But you can find it at different locations. Like if y'all just got to have YouTube in your life, you could check us out. Please do yourself a favor, subscribe to We All Be TV 2. We All Be TV 2 on YouTube. That's the channel. If you want to catch anything that's going to be live and recent with me, you can find it on that channel for the most part. You know, I'm gonna be doing all my lives from We All Be TV too. So you want to subscribe to that. Let's see, I'm gonna put it in the comment section. Subscribe to that so you can stay in touch. Hmm. Yeah, there's a lot going on, y'all. Just post in the comment. We All Be TV too. That was you want to stay up with our brother Ron on YouTube. You can't get out that plantation for whatever reason. I ain't mad at you, but let's build that channel up. But I would like to see the original channel get 100,000 subs. So I will be posting updates and maybe and previews on that channel as we make our transition to other platforms, because I never seen anything like, I'm not no Alex Jones, I'm not no Candace Owens, but yet I'm not, they just going after me, man. It's weird. They're relentless. They keep on removing videos. They already demonetized or demonetized. They demonetized my channel last May. I mean, not last May, but May of last year. May of last year, they demonetized my channel. And then they are constantly removing stuff from the archives. They're steadily removing Dick Gregory, Judge Joe Brown's, Dr. Randy Short's interviews from the archives. Because my thing was to keep it as an archive for posterity, but they won't let that happen for whatever reason. So I got the memo, you know. So I'm in the process of moving things along. And y'all, if y'all gotta stay on YouTube, I can find most of my YouTube related stuff. The fresh new stuff will be on We All Be TV too, including live streaming will be done from We All Be TV too. So please, if y'all want to keep up with the words from Brother Herb, please subscribe to that. Also, I received that, man. I feel like a lot of people was missing out on me. I felt very missed. And love, to be loved. Oh, what a feeling to be loved. Okay, because we all be in it to win it. And let me see what else. Also, we're moving. We're at Rumble TV right now. I've been posting to Rumble TV, so let me get that up here. I'm still kind of rusty, y'all. Y'all bear with me. I got a lot of interesting things to share, but I just want to do this house cleaning stuff right quick, and I'm gonna be doing it throughout the show actually. But yeah, Rumble TV, We All Be TV. You can find us on Rumble TV. Yes, indeed. Do that. Yeah, Rumble is interesting. Like I like Rumble because they are what YouTube used to be back in the day. They really allow for different points of views to be shared on their platform without any type of blocking and all that stuff, censorship for the most part. Not right now anyway, but like Billie Holiday saying, this is Black Music Appreciation Month. God bless a child that got his own. All right. So we gotta stay blessed and humble. But y'all can join me there. That's rumble.com. We all be TV. Actually, we got the live going on from there as I speak. There's actually I'm live streaming this from several platforms, which includes Facebook or Fed Up Book. They like censoring people. Instagram for the first hour, and what else? YouTube, of course. Yep. So I got certain basics are covered, but yeah, subscribe there, and also we got a Spotify podcast account as well too. Got Spotify podcast account as well. Y'all can hit up. I'm trying to find a way to post it somewhere during the time. But also, we need y'all support. This is very important. They just made an announcement. I was watching the Kelly Clarkson show, the former American Idol winner and singer. She got her own talk show, and she had on Memphis finest, the mayor of the good city. I mean, the mayor of the city of good abode. That's our moniker, the city of good abode. Mayor Paul Young, he was on there talking about our Juneteenth schedule and festivities. She interviewed the Honorable Mayor Paul Young on Juneteenth of this year about what was going on in Memphis. And it came to my attention that she said and told the mayor, don't you know that your city, Memphis, Tennessee, is the blackest city in the country? Like, not, there's other places that have more black people than Memphis, but the overall majority is overwhelmingly a black town. It's a black face town. We're gonna talk about that later on in the show. What I mean by that, like I said, Memphis, is it Wakanda or is it Candyland, as in Candyland from Django Unchained? So we're gonna get a little bit into that. But let me see. What did I say we are gonna be talking about, y'all? Okay, let's say MAGA negas, nagas. Not what y'all think. I'm spelling Negus. MAGA, nagas, nagas, niggas, nagas, nagas. Okay, not no. I'm just it's Negus. That's what I'm saying. Negus, man. Okay, and that means king. I mean, in Ethiopia it means king, right? So reclaim the narrative. Words create worlds, right? So is Juneteenth a joke? Is Drake hip hop's messiah? Is Memphis Wakanda or Candyland? So we're gonna touch on that. But let me start out now. This Kendrick Lamar Drake thing is very fascinating, right? Like Amazon Music did a live stream of the Pop Out concert. Kendrick Lamar's Pop Out concert for Juneteenth was live streamed from the Forum in Inglewood, West Side, Inglewood, Inglewood. What's good? Hollywood. What's good? Because these are the breaks. Okay, so they streamed his concert. It was an epic performance. I believe it was a historic event in hip hop, black culture, black history. It'll be probably on featuring Black History trivia games going forward, I'm sure. But people was just singing the praises of this amazing gathering of our people. They like us. 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 Like black people. And Kendrick to me is a very gifted, talented artist, poet, MC, rapper. He is brilliant. You know, you gotta remember he was the first rapper to win a Pulitzer Prize. You know, and you think about all the great rappers that came before Kendrick and coming after Kendrick and are currently his peers, his colleagues, not the colonizers, but the colleagues, his peers. Kendrick is a top five. He's top five MC for me. I got him tied at number three with Cube, Ice Cube, another West Side, yay, legend. You understand? Kendrick deserves that, right? He deserves his recognition. He deserves to smell his flowers right now. Because Kendrick is that dude. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't see it like everybody else. I don't see. I thought the concert was it was very good. Now, is it up there for hip hop? Yeah, but you think about without watching the concert, Kendrick, very gifted performer. But would I put it in the same league as say Michael Jackson's halftime show at the Super Bowl? Or anything Michael Jackson, even Michael Jackson rehearsals. This is it. Y'all seen the documentary. I mean, well, I put it on the level of that. It wasn't like he was dancing. I mean, they see walk or whatever they did the gang stuff. No disrespect, but what I'm saying is, we went from like the James Brown and Michael Jackson of performing to even MC Hammer. MC Hammer put on some amazing stuff back in the day, and people act like they never listened to MC Hammer. Nobody never ever listened to MC Hammer. MC Hammer was very popular. He was up there. I remember when Bobby Brown was the king of R&B. At the same time, MC Hammer was the king of rap from Oakland, and he put the West Side on his back. He put the West Side on his back. But here's the thing that people missing, right? I talked about the Kendrick thing and Drake beef. Everybody knows about this situation for the last couple of months, and a lot of people believe that Kendrick won everything, and they not like us, and it's a banger, it's an all time classic, right? There's no argument from me with that. But here's the thing: Drake didn't really lose anything. Yeah, I said it. I said Drake did not really lose anything. Drake really has gained a lot. And I'm gonna tell you something. Everybody, including Kendrick, has eaten off of Drake. Drake has fed the industry. He is the black, no, I mean, he is the messiah of hip hop. He is the son of the hip hop god, the sixth god, or 69 god, whatever. Sixth god, 69, sixth god, yay, 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 yay. He is, um, he was sent here to be sacrificed for the people. You got to think about it. Drake unified not only the gang culture in LA, but he unified the whole industry against him. 20 versus 1. Drake versus everybody. Drake versus everybody. And I'm gonna say this: Drake, Kendrick may have won the battle, but Drake is winning the war. Make no mistake about it. Don't be surprised when Drake is a billionaire. He's be one of the next hip hop billionaires. They already got rid of Diddy. Ye is what Ye does, whatever they're gonna be. Jay-Z moving quiet and silent. No, well, nah, he did that little Tony performance with Alicia Keys. New York. Jigga. He moving with his hand on the trigger. Jigga, 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 jigga. But Drake will be a billionaire, I believe. He will join the billionaire club of hip hop, replacing Diddy and some other folks along the way. I want to see, can y'all hear me? I want to make sure y'all can hear me. So I'm gonna check it out. Check it out, y'all. Check it out. Can y'all hear me, yo? Can y'all hear me out there? I'm about to tell some truths. Okay, I think y'all can hear me. Oh, brother Ronald, how? Okay, great. Just let me know if y'all can't hear me. Let me know. Thank you, brother Hunt. It's good to be seen. It's good to be missed. But I'm here now. And what I was saying about Kendrick. Okay, Kendrick and Drake, right? Kendrick got one of the greatest hip hop debut albums in history. It's proven by the fact that it's been on the Billboard top, I think top 200 or top 100 charts for years. Kendrick got the record for the longest rap album on the Billboard charts. With a Good Kid, Mad City, the one. But here's the thing about that. You remember great songs on that. Great songs on there. Kendrick, he A Star Is Born, right? But Drake is on that album. Drake is on one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time, rap albums, whatever you want to call it. He's a feature on that. Drake was that guy back then. When Kendrick was just getting on the scene, Drake was already that dude, that man, mama, that man. He was already that guy. So he gave him the assist to a classic debut. Drake gave an assist to Rick Ross. I like Rick Ross, one of my favorite rappers. I love his flow. Lemon pepper. He make everything rhymes with lemon pepper. And lemon pepper. He got the lemon pepper. You got the lemon pepper. All right. Everything rhymes with lemon pepper. So Drake helped a lot of cats eat. He collabed with 21 Savage. Did that before even Kendrick did his pop out concert for Amazon Music. Y'all remember when Yeezy and Drake did that concert to Free Larry Hoover? That did numbers. But it's like Drake, some of his biggest moments and biggest successes have been dealing with Kendrick. Some of Kendrick's biggest moments has been dealing with Drake. You know, People said that Kendrick is saving hip hop and Kendrick is bringing people together. No, Drake is saving hip hop. Drake is bringing people together against him. They all hate Drake. Everybody hates Drake. And I don't understand. It was all good this 3, 4, 5 months ago. Now y'all hate Drake. Drake is one of the biggest, not just hip hop stars, but pop acts on the planet. See, I look at Drake as Elvis Presley, and I view Kendrick Lamar as James Brown. Elvis was the king of rock and roll. I'm the king of home. I'm all shook up. And James Brown was the godfather of soul. Hit it on the one, Bobby, 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 hit it on the one. Two different styles, but well respected. And James Brown and Elvis was friends. Now, I don't, y'all can believe what y'all want to. I believe that Kendrick and Drake are still cool. This is like wrestlers, you know what I'm saying? Wrestling. Memphis is one of the wrestling capitals. Everybody, Rocky, the Rock's daddy, Rock, Ric Flair. Whoo, 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 whoo. Nature Boy was born in Memphis. See, Memphis is a powerful mecca for the culture. And I ain't gonna get into all that tonight, but I just wanted to point that even Drake's daddy is from Memphis. Come on now. 901, stand up. 901, stand up. But I'm not, but the thing is Elvis or Drake is like Elvis, Kendrick is like James Brown. Drake has been accused of liking them pretty young things, pretty young, right? Well, Elvis was well known to like them PYTs, pretty young. When Elvis was 24, that's when he got with Priscilla Presley. When she was 14, he was 24, she was 14, and she verified that. That's not something that I'm saying that's in the window, not well known. I think Priscilla talked about when she met Elvis, how young she was. She was 14, Elvis was 24, a 10-year difference. What people don't understand is a lot of us wouldn't be here without those teenage brides, all right? My late great uncle, James French Sr., founder of the Charleston Chronicle, which was the oldest black owned newspaper in the state of South Carolina until he passed away in the year 2021 It is now defunct. I mean, it's out of business. It's travesty, tragedy. I mean, travesty, tragedy, whatever. He died at the age of 94. He would have been 95 in on October the 7th of that year, 2021. He was 24, a Navy guy. He met his bride and wife to be. She was 14 and got married. And they would have been married for, see, about 70 years that year. They would have had their 70th anniversary of marriage. Um, and my uncle Frenchie, as they called him, was a very well respected, honorable man of the community. There's a street name for him in Charleston, South Carolina. He was well known as not only as a great journalist, but also as a community advocate, a philanthropist, a humanitarian, overall good guy, right? So he married this girl when she was 14. He was 24. They stayed married for almost 70 years. He died right before their anniversary, which would have been, I believe, in August. He died right before then. And what's interesting is like even with Elvis, but then you got, I said Drake, I mean Kendrick Lamar is like James Brown, who was the godfather of soul. Hit it on the one. Now Kendrick got a lot of soul. Kendrick ain't faking the funk on that. He is a soul brother. He's a soul brother, a soldier, right? He's that. He is that. He is that. But what did Drake accuse Kendrick of? If Kendrick accused Drake of being into them pretty young things, them PPYTs, then Drake accused Kendrick of being into the DVs, right? You know, giving his girl the Cassie treatment allegedly. And James Brown was also uh like the, put hands on females allegedly. So I mean it's interesting how if you think about it, that makes sense in terms of how you look at Kendrick and Drake, and also with James Brown. You know, without the music of James Brown, there will be no rap, no hip hop. Like what we know as hip hop and rap today would not exist without them sampling the greatness of James Brown as one of the foundations for that music, that thing of ours, right? They are like us. They are like us. They are like us. And James Brown, from my understanding, was very supportive of the Young Brothers when it first started. Because a lot of these corporations, they try to stifle your creativity and your voice, albeit on like a lot of these platforms that I'm on. They try to stifle your voice and your creativity. But James Brown believe in getting off the grassroots and let them grow. You got to water the grassroots because people forget that hip hop was a conscious music. Like, it was a message music, like, on the level of a Curtis Mayfield and Marvin Gaye and Teddy Pendergrass, excuse me. It was a message music. And what Chuck D said that hip hop was the CNN of the black community at one point, but now is an agent of chaos. And we could get into that another show, but what I'm touching on is that even with Malcolm X, people say we love Malcolm. Black people forgot about Malcolm in the early days. Like after he died, Malcolm was looked at as somebody you don't talk about, you don't support, you don't rally around. The only reason why Malcolm X is really appreciated today, run the real reasons, is because rappers start sampling. They start to sample the speeches of Brother Malcolm back in the 80s for hip hop. They start sampling Malcolm X's speeches. It's like they start sampling, they were sampling James Brown. So they brought Malcolm from the dead. So it was the young people looking for a hero that didn't exist in the flesh because everybody done sold out, right? So they had to go back to the past and unearth Brother Malcolm. Even the 5% Nation is a byproduct of Brother Malcolm's influence. Because you gotta understand, when Brother Malcolm ran Temple number 7 up in New York for the Nation of Islam, he had another brother in that temple named Clarence 13X. I believe his name was Clarence 13X. He is the founding father of the 5% nation. Y'all know how they break that down, right? Uh 85% of people are dumb, deaf, and blind. 10% act as the gatekeepers, right? But the 5%ers are the poor righteous teachers, right? Is that a group, a hip hop group called the Poor Righteous Teachers? So the 5% nation is based on ethics and mathematics. Clarence 13X was from Danville, Virginia, but he was under Malcolm X at Temple number 7. The man was very powerful in galvanizing and uniting the young people in New York. He had a direct phone line to the mayor of New York City, and the mayor basically had an open checkbook. Whatever Clarence 13X wanted to do for the young people in New York, he was able to get access to the mayor's office, and they will sign him checks and say, "Look, I want to take these young people on a plane. They never been on a plane. Okay, we'll pay for that." And he had an open checkbook basically because they were concerned about the youth back then in terms of like the rebellions that was going on, right? The riots and all this stuff that was happening in the 60s. So they needed somebody to step in to probably trying to calm them down, cool them out. So Clarence 13X, he fit that mold for that part. But with success, you have haters. They're your biggest fans. But unfortunately, somebody deleted Clarence 13X, I believe, in a housing project of New York. It may have been like the late 60s or early 70s. I'm gonna say it like that because I'm gonna let y'all research that and tell people about Clarence 13X, the 5% Nation, and how it's connected to the hip hop movement. You know, that's very important. The point, because Kendrick, he was uniting. He tried to unite all the different gang sets, right? But to me, Kendrick didn't do that. Drake did that. Drake was the sacrificial lamb, God's son, so to speak. He was willing to be sacrificed. Jacob Hoover had this FBI memo back in the day about preventing the rise of a black messiah, right? There, you could look at the document, it's very redacted, but you could basically tell who he's talking about. They're trying to figure out who's going to be the person that can unite black people. So they talked about, I believe, King, it mentioned Elijah Muhammad, but they believe he was too old at the time. I believe brother Malcolm was dead by that time. I think it mentioned Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture. But this is a very serious business. This is very biblical. If you think about somebody like Chairman Fred Hampton Sr., who tried to unite the street gangs up in Chicago, the Black Peace Stone Nation, Jeff Fort, Jeff Fort, the L. Ruckins, y'all know anything about that stuff? Fred Hampton was trying to unite and politicize the street gangs, not just the black gangsters or gangbangers, whatever, but also the white folk, their white counterparts, and also the Latin kings or whatnot. Like the Latin kings, but y'all know what I'm talking about. It's he'll try to unite the Latinos, the whites, and the blacks. And Fred Hampton called that the Rainbow Coalition. Now, when we think about the Rainbow Coalition today, we're thinking about pride, right? Pride, pride. She's a very freaking girl, a bisexual. Okay, but Rainbow Coalition was a term that was created and coined by Fred Hampton Sr. when he talked about unifying everybody across race and class lines, politicizing the working class folk, right? And he became a danger. And what happened to Fred Hampton? The government put something in his Kool-Aid or something in his drink or his food. His chief bodyguard, William O'Neill, was a FBI informant as well as agent provocateur. He provided the floor plans to the apartment of Fred Hampton, and they killed him while he was sleeping next to his pregnant fiance. December 4th, 1969. They killed him and defense captain Mark Clark of the Black Panther Party. If you look at that movie, you can't go to Hollywood for your history. Fred Hampton was just 21 when they got rid of him, when he got deleted, right? The guy who played Fred Hampton in the movie Judas and the Black Messiah was in his 30s. William O'Neill was a young guy, late teen, early 20s type of in that realm. The guy that played William O'Neill, Lakeith Stanfield, he was in his 30s. So in the movie, it make you think, oh, these guys had a long time to organize the community. No, they didn't. I don't think Fred Hampton was barely the chairman of the Black Panther Party in Illinois for about a year. There was a brother named Brown, last name Brown, I believe. Look him up. He was a SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee person, and he actually helped found the Black Panther chapter in Illinois. And I believe he left, and Fred took over for him. But Fred Hampton was basically just really a cub himself at 21. He wasn't in leadership for like maybe barely a year, and they took him out of here because the government knew who he was at 14. They wiretapped his people phones, his mama phone and them. And I had a chance to thank Mrs. Hampton for her ultimate sacrifice in losing her son to the revolution. But what people don't know about Mrs. Hampton, who passed away back in 2016, is that she also babysitted Emmett Till, who was deleted at 14. So the government started watching her son around 14, and they deleted Emmett Till at 14, somebody that she used to babysit because she was next door neighbors with Till people up and out in Illinois. So getting back to that, I believe Drake to me helped unify everybody. He was using sacrificial lamb to rally people together. Like even with the rappers and stuff, they a lot of them they ate off of Drake's plate. It's like Jesus, the Last Supper. Everybody eating off of Jesus, but everybody don't have the faith, and one will betray him ultimately. So Drake was assisting all these guys, helping them, get their clout and their money. But the thing about Drake also, which is interesting, it kind of goes back to like you look at the movie Straight Outta Compton, or even the situation with NWA, the actual situation where I always tell people that white power is divide and conquer, black power is unity and solidarity. Where Jerry Heller, who was the manager of NWA, whatever, business partner with Eazy-E and Ruthless Records, instead of him taking care of everybody in the group, like, that's why Ice Cube left, because he was not getting all his money. He decided to choose one person to take care of it. That was Eric Wright. Easy does it. Eazy-E, one of my favorites. I love Eazy-E. But he chose Eric to take care of and forgot about everybody else. So, Cube left, and they made fun of Cube. Then Dre left for Death Row. And Jerry Heller ends up outliving Eazy-E. Eazy-E died on very questionable circumstances. Like a Jegna of mine. A Jegna to me is what y'all call a mentor, but I call it Jegna because I know what mentor really means. If you let's look up the original origin and meaning of mentor, I call it Jegna for me. Emerson Abel Jr., great music mind. He told me nobody dies a natural death in show business, Ron. Nobody dies a natural death in show business. So with that said, Drake is interesting. I know it's kind of weird to say it, but I don't believe he lost anything dealing with Kendrick. Drake is a veteran with the battle rap game. Terms like you remember what happened with Pusha T and Meek Mill, not that long ago, a couple years back. But also with Drake, he won because he made Kendrick produce more music. Kendrick will wait like it's like every 4 years, every presidential election, he'll drop an album. That's what it seemed like. He is notorious for taking his time and producing the music that he produced, but the wait is worth it. The wait is worth it. He quality music, but Drake inspired Kendrick to produce more music. Music. So how did Drake lose anything if he inspired one of the greatest rappers of all time to be more productive, to up his game? How did Drake lose anything? Drake ain't lost nothing to me. He's a warrior. Y'all, he do all that emo stuff and all that, but Drake ain't no pushover to me. Well, see, what Drake thing is, a lot of them cats are mad and envious. I don't know if envious is the right word, but it could be for some people because Drake is taken care of. He got a big, rich white daddy over there in Universal Soul looking out for his interests. Because like Kendrick said, they not like us, right? Because Drake, he's not just so-called black or mixed, he's also Jewish. He's Jewish, right? And quite frankly, I'm not interested in knowing his views about what's going on as it relates to that, in terms of like what's going on, right? Because and I believe that he's smart enough not to let people know his perspective on that. But he's not ashamed of his heritage. He embraces his faith or whatever. Because people say that's a race. I mean, it's a religion. Now you got I ain't gonna get to that all that. I ain't gonna get into all that. That's not something I'm gonna go down. But you know, Jewish people run it. Jewish people started, they control, helped started what is now known as Hollywood. This is not nothing that's not that well known. It's very well known. It's documented. The Jewish people involvement in Hollywood and also in organized crime. One of my favorite gangsters of all time, if not my favorite, is Benjamin Bugsy Siegel. He was a proud Jewish gangster. He had Hollywood, good looks, playboy, psychopath, sociopath, whatever, founder of Las Vegas, right? One of the co-founders of the real Murder Inc. Murder, not Ja Rule, but the real Murder Inc., which was founded by Jewish and Italian gangsters and ran by some Jewish gangsters like Bugsy Siegel, like Meyer Lansky, like Louis Lepke Buckhalter, who to this day is the only mob boss in U.S. history to get put to death by the state. New York electrocuted him in the electric chair back in, I want to say, March of '44. Look it up. Um, but they ran it, even so like you think about Universal and all that, or you think about look at the Bronfman family. The Bronfman family helped create what we know as Seagrams, the alcoholic beverage known as Seagrams. But back in the day, they were bootleggers, right? They used to work with Joe Kennedy, the patriarch of the Kennedy family. Yeah, JFK Daddy, Frank Costello, all them gangsters on the East Coast and all that stuff. They used to work with these people to bring in the liquor, right? So the Bronfman family got involved in Universal, and now you got this what's his name, Lucy, what's his name? I don't know, the guy who runs Universal now. That's Drake's guy. He looks out for Drake. He takes good care of Drake, and that's why Drake is on his way to being a billionaire. Because he got some, he got a 400. They gave him like a $400 million deal. I believe was a Universal. His music contract is $400 million. I don't know. Can you name anybody, any artist, any rapper that's getting that type of money off of their music catalog, off their music? You know, uh, Drake is playing the game. He's playing chess, not checkers. So whatever. But this is definitely was a good look for the culture. What I saw on the stage with all the gang people coming together, Bloods and Crips, unity. It reminded me of like what they say happened after the Rodney King riots, the peace treaty, right? And I remember it's like a little bit over 30 years ago, right? When the Crips and Bloods did a hip hop album or some rap albums. I think one was called Banging on Wax. That stuff still goes hard to this day. Shout out to DJ Battlecat, one of the producers, legendary hip hop producer, West Coast legend. DJ Battlecat was very heavy in production for the Banging on Wax, featuring rappers of the Bloods and the Crips. And I remember it's like they do this every, maybe I said 10 years, because when I say 10 years, I'm thinking about 2014, because I started playing that music, Banging on Wax, whatever, around the same time the Mike Brown thing went down in Ferguson, Missouri, outside of St. Louis, Missouri, right? And so I actually went to Mike Brown's funeral. It was hot. It was steaming hot. It's getting hot in here. It was very hot outside. There was a who's who of everybody out there. Spike Lee, Bishop T.D. Jakes had more security than the president. Everybody was there. It was overflowing capacity crowd. Al Sharpton doing a eulogy of another person he never knew in life. How can a person never knew you in life do your eulogy any justice, right? How yeah, he used to like to eat Triscuits, and he would eat the Triscuits with sometimes with mayonnaise, and when he's really in a good mood would be peanut butter. And don't stop the Triscuit, baby. Don't, I mean, what are you talking about? I ain't say he said that at the, you can look this up. Like, he didn't say nothing about no Triscuits, he was talking about someone else. But why would you get somebody to do a eulogy for a person they never met? I don't know. I don't know. But I remember like I started looking it up on YouTube, the Banging on Wax, the songs, and I was thinking to myself, now this is what, 2014 I was doing this. So the banging on wax stuff, y'all talk about it in the comment section. I think it came out around 93, 92, something like that. In that era, 92, 93, 94. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder how many people from them recording sessions for those that did those songs are still alive. Where are they now? Like, why don't nobody like, where are they now? Because my thing is black people, we always get caught up in the euphoria of the moment. We always want to do the feel good stuff. And the stuff that needs to be done that's going to really progress us as a people ain't going to always be so-called feel good euphoric moments. So what I'm saying is that I think about the banging on wax where the Bloods and Crips came together and make some music, right? And I think about I saw the Juneteenth concert to pop out with Kendrick Lamar. That was a good selfie moment. That was a good Instagram, whatever you want to do, Snapchat moment. But what is that really going to lead to? Because my thing is, what concerned me about us as black people, we expect too much out of our entertainers. Let me say that again. We expect too much out of our entertainers. They're there to entertain, to help be a distraction, a deflection, whatever you want to call it. They're not revolutionaries. Baba Dick Gregory will always say, he would tell me, entertainers ain't gonna save the world. No, entertainers ain't nothing. It's the everyday regular folk that put in that work, that are unsung and not celebrated. Those the game changers right there. Those the people. Somebody, I was, yeah, I'm gonna have the conversation because that's what I'm talking about right now, Cameron. Thank you for listening. We're gonna talk about that because what I'm saying is people I like what happened on Juneteenth for this year with the Kendrick Lamar thing is a game changer for black people. You still worrying about being one paycheck away from being homeless. People dealing with mental health issues right now. People, 2020 stuff, the residue of 2020, inflation, bread, eggs, gas, everything is high. Uh, there's a lot of people struggling right now, and to me, a sporting event, concerts, movies ain't gonna solve our problems. We gonna have to solve our problems. We gonna have to have a serious conversation with ourselves as well as with other like-minded individuals to get it done. But like I said, where's the follow-up? It's just like with Katrina. We celebrating Juneteenth, but you still got black people missing from Hurricane FEMA Katrina. That happened back in August of 2005, or August, September 2005. You still got black folks that's missing. You still got black folks that's missing. All right, cameraman, we'll talk about the Juneteenth thing in this segment. I'm definitely gonna hit on that. Yeah, I know a little bit about Juneteenth. I know a little bit about black people too. But anyway, getting back to what I'm saying, um, where's the follow up? People talk about, oh, the Saints won a Super Bowl. Oh, wait, the game is rigged. Y'all know professional sports, everything is rigged, right? Las Vegas runs it, right? Who run it? They run it. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us because they run it. All right. That's what I'm trying to say. So the game is rigged. So Saints win a Super Bowl. What about the black folks still missing from New Orleans? What about the black people who never been outside of New Orleans, never been outside the Ninth Ward? How do they end up in Utah and Oregon and places like that? What was the purpose of moving black folks out of the city that they're born and grew up in? What was the purpose of that? Think about Fess Domino, world renowned music legend. Fess Domino. He still lived in the hood comfortably, may I add. He was living comfortably in the hood. He is arguably a national treasure. Him and Chuck Berry, don't couple people, they helped created that thing known as rock and roll. So these are people, but where's the follow up on that? Why is nobody asking, like, where are the black people that's still missing from Katrina? What happened to them? Because I remember when the honorable representative from Georgia, Cynthia McKinney, she was letting people know that black folks were being hunted down and slaughtered down there in the aftermath of Katrina. But nobody wanted to believe that. But people wanted to believe that black folks were being cannibals. Black folks, you just like 24 hours, 20 hours removed from eating Popeyes. So you mean like in a day or two, we went from eating Popeyes to eating Popeye? That don't make any sense. That's some other people behavior. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. But they ran with that story. Then they had, I remember when they started showing footage or pictures on news, people looting. What I saw was people trying to survive, people wading through the water, wade through the water with soggy bread, and they called that looting. These people were trying to survive. Their government failed them. Not only did the levees fail them, and that's really people heard explosions, and just like it's like up there with that 911 thing, right? I always tell people it's an inside job. And like people say, how can you prove it? And like I always go back to that Alonzo Harris character that Denzel played in Training Day. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. But my thing is, I'm letting you know that the game is definitely rigged. The fix is always in. So be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. That's very important. But like to me, that's not gonna change the situation, a concert or your favorite sports team. Y'all won, we won. What did you win? Because even when they lose, they getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Are you have a certain percentage of ownership in the team? And don't tell me y'all lose together, because don't tell me you gambling away your mortgage and rent money and all that, because they didn't lose. They still gonna get paid. They still gonna get compensated. So anyway, people like brother cameraman brought up the Juneteenth thing. Is Juneteenth a joke? And that's a legitimate question, because I don't understand. My problem is this is why I don't think black people we want to celebrate minor stuff. I want major things, not a minor. I want a major. They not like us. They not like us. Look, right before Juneteenth happened, where was the outrage? I mean, real outrage about what happened to the last survivors, the last living survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre, where their case for reparations and restitution was denied by a court. And people say it was the Oklahoma State Court, or State Supreme, whatever it was. It still represented America courts, right? They were denied the rights to have any type of compensation for what they had to endure, what they lost. What people don't understand with the Tulsa thing, and I wish that we start really having an interest. The way we have an interest in celebrities and rap beefs, I wish we really start having an interest in who we are and where we come from. The problem with the Tulsa thing is very problematic. Basically, the court said they didn't make their case. They couldn't prove their case. And when you start looking at the Tulsa thing, you got black folks. This is Black Wall Street, right? Very prosperous uh, community of black people. Even had their own airport, airplanes, whatever. Was doing business with all types of interesting entities. Were thriving, do for self-made people. Uh, they were attacked on a lie. They were attacked over a lie. It was an excuse to use to destroy and get rid of black people. And it was sponsored by the city as well as the state. Uh, thing about it was crazy. I read somewhere where none of the black people who had businesses and homes and even lost loved ones were ever compensated one red cent by the insurance companies that they paid the policies to or for whatever. Who they got their policies through. They did not accept anybody claim. Any black person that filed a claim was denied and rejected. Yet, from my understanding, these same so-called insurance companies were paying for white people guns and bullets, was insuring their guns and bullets for what they did to black people. You think about, the most prominent black person to get killed during the race massacre back in 1921 was a renowned surgeon named Dr. A.C. Jackson, who was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee back in 1879. According to the Mayo brothers who founded the Mayo Clinic, he was the most accomplished black surgeon or color surgeon in the country. This the Mayo brothers saying he was gifted. And what's interesting is that he also invented surgery tools that are still used today in surgery. So you had this brilliant guy who was not only a credit to his race, but a credit to humanity. His neighbor, a white man, John Oliphant, I believe his name was John Oliphant. He was a former police chief and judge. He begged the white people not to delete Dr. Jackson. He said, this man is a medical professional. He not only saved black people lives, he saved white lives. And they shot him in the street. No problem. Just shot him down. This is the guy who was renowned. His his death, it was noticed by the associations that he was associated with. And he was just in his early 40s. So that's sad. What about how can you replace somebody like a Dr. Jackson? Not only that, how can you replace anybody? Loved ones that were lost, you know. And this is just since 103 years ago. And people act like slavery is so far away. My great grandfather, my grandmother, my paternal grandmother's father was born into slavery in South Carolina back in 1862. Back in 1862. When my grandmother was born, he was about 66 years old. He ended up living to be in his 70s, died during the Great Depression. He have not been dead for 100 years. And he was a former so-called enslaved person. So what that says to me is that America wants to remember certain things and want to forget other things. And that because we don't have a strong enough black uh, entity that advocates on the behalf of black people, because like even Israel, they got APAC. You know, like somebody was saying, almost every representative and senator in Congress got a handler from APAC, which raises awareness and monies for the state of Israel. So where's the lobbyists for black people in America? Even if you go back when they were lynching immigrants, like Italian immigrants, because Italians were not considered white until recently. Chinese immigrants were lynched. Somebody had to answer for that. The American government had to pay restitution to the victims' country of origin. So if they kill a Chinese person here, they had to pay China something. They had to compensate Italy if they killed some Italians, which they did. I mean, they wasn't only lynching black people. But what I'm saying is, when black people get done, who's there to advocate for black folk? Like, Juneteenth was started in Texas. You know, says General Granger, whatever, announced that the slaves were free down at Ashton Villa in the island of Galveston, which is off the coast, whatever, of Houston, Texas. I actually went to the spot where the announcement was made back in the day, way, way back in the day, right? But the thing about it is that didn't free us either because he had as a stipulation, like, it was in there to the effect that black people could not be idle. Meaning, like, I just got freed. I'm trying to figure out the direction of my life. I just can't stand still or even not only, but just be in a group with brothers and sisters to talk about what our next plan of action should be. That's a crime. So you got the black codes. You got people like, oh, all these black folks loitering. They're being idle. Let's put them in prison. Convict slave labor, right? Nathan Bedford Forrest, the first Grand Wizard of the KKK, Civil War general, slave trader, leading villain of the Fort Pillow massacre where they killed all them black U.S. colored troops and women and children. After the Civil War, he had convict slave labor thing going on at President's Island in the Mississippi River, right between Memphis and Arkansas. He had slave labor, black slave labor. He used to grow and raise crops and cattle and all that stuff on President's Island. So even after the Civil War, uh, the first Grand Wizard of the KKK was making money off of free black labor. And like the 13th Amendment did not abolish or end slavery, They could justify the use of slavery as a form of punishment. And the United States got a larger percentage of the world's prison population. You got more prisoners in the United States, from my understanding, when I researched it, than China, which got over 1 billion people. And then you think about, oh, what they do overseas. Think about Angola. And I'll give y'all an assignment. Research the Angola Three. You were three black men, Black Panthers, that were imprisoned in Angola, and they were put in solitary confinement for several decades. You want to know why they were put in solitary confinement for several decades? Well, they were accused of murdering this white CO, but the widow never believed the story, or she did not believe that these men killed her husband, from my understanding. And the thing about it is that they were really punishing them for organizing not only the black prisoners but also the white prisoners. Those brave men, they were also Black Panthers like George Jackson, the Soledad brother, right? They were trying to make sure that they stopped, people prison grapes, right? People getting graped. Y'all know what that means. It's silence the G. People getting graped, because we can't even talk about real stuff without getting censored. I could call you the N word and all this other stuff all day long, bees and twerking and everything, kids on here smoking weed, but we can't talk about real stuff, right? We can't, because we get censored, we get silenced. So they were trying to stop that from happening to inmates. And also they was making sure they integrate the cafeteria. They were doing a lot of things. They was advocating for prisoners' rights. That's what happened to them. That's why they got railroaded and put in solitary confinement for decades. And why? And how could that happen if black people had strong advocates? If we were strong as a community, as a nation, how could we allow these men to have their civil rights and human rights trampled on like that? That means we have no real power to think of. Now we have power. I'm talking about, do we have a structure, infrastructure that we know how to utilize and leverage said power for a desired outcome? We don't have even a proper agenda. When people say you're not on code, what's the code? Nobody can ever tell me what the code is. But everybody's off code all the time. But nobody can tell me what the code is. So we don't even got that understanding. And even if you don't have that understanding, you can do the research. History is a tool and a weapon. The Black Panther Party had the 10-point platform. I believe the 10-point platform still applies today. And we got to be honest with what Juneteenth was, right? It was symbolic, like the Emancipation Proclamation. The Emancipation Proclamation did not free the slaves. Lincoln did not have the power to free those slaves he said were free, because they were actually losing the Civil War at the time. And it took black men freeing themselves to free black people. It took black men picking up the gun so others could put down the gun, so they could have freedom. And we always shortchanging black men. There's a reason why they like to attack strong black men, because black men matter. The world is better off when black men can be men at full power. America has always been saved by black men, whether it be 5,000 strong with George Washington, whether it be about 200,000 strong with Abraham Lincoln and the Union, or whether it be Cat Williams or Dave Chappelle or Kendrick Lamar. Black men, we have always answered the call to serve to the highest good. But yet we are demonized, we are marginalized. They do their best to demoralize, emasculate, all this stuff. Instead of to educate, they want to eradicate black men from the equation. They even got our people buying into the idea of not having black men around being men. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But with the Juneteenth thing, you still had slaves in 1903 in Texas going to the post office saying, "I heard that we were freed." Now y'all said Juneteenth happened June 19th, 1865. Why is there black people going to the post office, or a black man went to the post office in 1903 in Texas and asked if it was true they were free. I met a black man at Mayor Chokwe Lumumba's homegoing celebration uh, doing the repast. I wish I had recorded him. This brother claimed to me that when he was in his late teens, he ran away from his master's plantation. This happened back in the early 50s. He said around the age of 17, he ran away from the plantation. He was a runaway slave. And I'm like, you a runaway slave? He said, yeah, I was a runaway slave. Like, all I knew was the plantation. My mama, my brothers and sisters, they all never left the plantation. They had to stay on the plantation. And he said, one day I just wanted to help him. I thought there was more to life, and I ran away. And he said, every now and then I would visit my people at the plantation. He said he tried to convince his brothers and sisters to leave. They didn't want to leave Massa. When Massa died, the family didn't give a damn how loyal they was to Massa. They kicked him off the property. But thank God that this brother had enough sense to leave at 17 because he was able to start his own carpentry business. And all his children are very successful professionals in media and in the medical profession. So I wish I had recorded this brother, but I was so tired. I was on my feet for 10 hours, basically, recording stuff in my Stacy Adams, brand new Stacy Adams. I was on my feet for 10 hours down there. But it was cool. But I just remember that. So you still had slavery going on after the Civil War in places like Mississippi. Like I talked about Angola. That's a plantation. It's fascinating. It really is fascinating to think about. So, insane, brother. So the holiday of Juneteenth was created to further bury the narrative on slavery into one that fustigate what really happened with the 13th Amendment. I agree. I agree because the 13th Amendment did not free us. We still dealing with prisons, state, federal, and private. Thank you, cameraman, for that. He said, so slavery isn't abolished, it's now regulated. The practice was opened up to all people, no matter their color, also changing the verbiage to convict, inmate, and criminal. Yeah, they like to play word games, word salads, words create worlds. Uh, Most Def Cameron, thank you for that. Let's see. So Cameron says, so here's my take on the topic of Juneteenth. Not only is it a joke, but it's a scam on all people in the nation, while blacks are the butts of that for believing the nonsense. Okay. When you abolish a practice, you cannot have exceptions in that abolishment that outlines the exception that will still allow for the practice. That's not abolishment, that's regulation. Okay. I think we on the same game. We in the same game. Read verbatim the text of the 13th amendment for me. Okay. I'll let y'all read that. That's y'all homework. But basically says like, hey, we not get rid of slavery. Neither slavery or involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, where the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States on any place subject to their jurisdiction. Okay, I guess that's part of 13th, right, sir? Okay, so like that's good, man. Thank you for that, man. And also why I got off like I said, I be going these little tangents, but with the Juneteenth thing, but talking about the hip hop thing, how they used to sample James Brown, I'm black and I'm proud, Mr. I'm black and I'm proud. You notice in the recording, James Brown said say it loud. He never said he was black and proud. He said say it loud. Say it loud. I said say it loud. He never said he was black and proud, but he let you say it. But why James Brown, he don't get enough credit for being a pioneering businessman. He actually was the first black person to own a jet in America. From my understanding, he was the first black person to own a private jet. Now, Jimmy Lunsford actually owned and flew his own airplane. This is back in the 1940s. That's my guy, Jimmy Lunsford, who needs to. Y'all gonna be hearing a lot more about Jimmy Lunsford in the coming months and stuff from yours truly. But anyway, yeah, we still have slaves in the United States. We still have slaves. People are slaves to comfort, to confusion, to a lot of things, to their addictions. So yeah, slavery still exists. And slavery, like Ye says, is also a choice. Because people gotta understand there's a difference between freedom and liberty, right? But anyway, getting back to the hip hop, the change, like like I said, hip hop brought Malcolm back, right? From the dead. And it was the black boule that couldn't stand Malcolm. I talked to this famous jazz musician from St. Louis, JD JD Paran or Paran. And he talked about how they did a some type of opera or musical for Malcolm back in the 80s. And the black bourgeoisie threatened to boycott, threatened to cut off support for the organization that put on this opera or musical about Brother Malcolm. You think about even Spike Lee, the story of him making the movie Malcolm X. Now, Malcolm X life rights was brought back in '72 by a Hollywood producer named Marvin Worth, I believe. He brought it from Betty Shabazz for like in the six figures. You think how powerful that movie was. This movie probably being shown. Somebody probably watching Malcolm X right now somewhere in the world. It's being broadcast, or somebody's watching it on demand or something like that. But that movie made a lot of money, and it gave Malcolm more notoriety among our people. But Spike Lee couldn't even get the movie studio to give him enough money to cover the budget, so he had to reach out to black people, people like y'all love to hate, like Dr. Bill Cosby. He reached out to Oprah, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Janet Jackson. Several black elites put money to help make that movie happen. Same thing with Dr. Bill Cosby. He gave Melvin Van Peebles the money to make Sweetback Badass Song, which is a black exploitation classic. Really, it's an American cinema classic. And the people who did the soundtrack was Earth, Wind, and Fire. Their founder, of course, is from where? He's from Memphis. Memphis is a powerful place. Um, Maurice White, that's his name, the late great Maurice White. I actually met him over 20 years ago at the opening of the Stax Museum in South Memphis in Soulsville. And he was a nice dude, man. He was really like cool, calm, collected. It was hot that day, but he was cool, man. He ain't put on no airs. He was with the people. So rest in peace to Maurice White. We lost him back in 2016. But you talking about what Kendrick did with that one concert. You had hip hop that was trying to raise consciousness and unites people before the gangster rap era came. You know, you had the BC era. I call it the BC era hip hop is before Chronic, right? Before Chronic, because after Chronic, everything changed. Like but you had like these unity anthems, like we all in the same game. The West Coast, we all in the same game. You know, Michelle A. I mean, the West Coast. Then you had self destruction. We had it for self destruction. Self destruction. We had it for self destruction. That's the East Coast and stuff like that. Uh, I think Kumo D said a great line in self destruction. I never had to run from the Klan, but I shouldn't have to run from a black man. I never had to run from the Klan, but I shouldn't have to run from a black man. Because that's self destruction. Headed for self destruction. And Kumo D was in a famous rap battle with LL Cool J. Kumo D was hard. The Wild Wild West. I used to live uptown. I guess he lost against LL Cool J, whatever, but he's still a legend. One of the all-time greats. Kumo D. Shout out to Kumo D, living legend Kumo D. But the industry changed the messaging of hip hop because even like what's weird to us, like I said, you can't follow these people. Entertainers are court justice. No disrespect to them. That's their profession. They're there to be entertainers, distractors, all this stuff. Dr. Dre, I remember when Dr. Dre did that song "Express Yourself." They sampled that Charles Wright, "Express Yourself," dun, 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 dun. And shout out to Charles Wright. He is living good off of that money. He got out that song. That song had, paying him real well. They used that, his song "Express Yourself" in a lot of commercials overseas and stuff. And I think they used it in a Super Bowl commercial this year. So he getting hella paid. Shout out to Charles Wright from Clarksdale, Mississippi. But NWA sampled his song. And I remember like in the song, Dr. Dre talking about you were stupid to smoke weed or cess. Like he said, I don't smoke weed or cess. Like it's basically saying they made fun of people who smoke weed or cess. And the thing about it is this is the same group that made the song F the Police, right? And they talking about it's bad to smoke weed. This is before the crime. This is before Dr. Dre left Ruthless for Death Row. So how can you trust these people? Because are they really for the interest of our people? It's like if Juneteenth was real, and I like June. I don't, this is not me attacking. I know black people we get so emotional. Hear me out. If Juneteenth really mattered, because Juneteenth was started in Texas, right? You know, that's been a Texas celebration for a long, long time. Sandra Bland would never had happened down there. We would not have accepted this official story of how she deleted herself. Where are the organizations and the brave individuals? Where are the people in Congress that advocate for Black Americans, who actually advocate for Black? I ain't talking about no different types of people of color. I'm talking about there any organization? Is there any lobby group? Is there any person, any celebrity that actually put money behind and support Black Americans, people who could trace their people all the way back to the beginning of this republic and even before? People who could trace their people to the so-called native tribes of this land, because we are the natives. People who could name their ancestors who fought in the Civil War and the American Revolutionary War. Where are our conversation? Where is the love for us? Where are the people that all I hear when it come to Black Americans in our ears is that we gotta do a study to see if we should give y'all reparations. You got illegal people coming over here and they not doing a study to give them like food stamps and rent and all this stuff and income, and they're not even citizens. And here you are, your people, uh, blood, sweat, and tears help create this opportunity for everybody else. So what I'm saying is, I'm not knocking us celebrating nothing. My thing is, we got work to do, and the work that needs to be done won't be embraced a lot of times, and the people who carry out the work won't be always loved or understood or understood even. People, they look at me, they think they know where I'm coming from with things, and they don't know. uh Even though I might be on here for 2 hours explaining stuff, they don't really know. And the thing about it is, a lot of stuff that I do that's for our people, I don't publicize like that. I'm only, it's hard. I'm one person, got a small dedicated crew of people, but you know, uh it's crazy. But like, let me get on to, cause even with Tupac started off as a revolutionary. He's a Black Panther cub, right? Parents were Black Panthers. He trying to do like the Malcolm X grassroots revolutionary stuff. And his career, then he got the recording contract, and the rest is history. They took him off his, original course into something else. And we lost him at 25. And we still don't understand how they really went down. Because if we did, we would not support these same entities that try to distract us and keep our eyes off the prize. So with that said, let me move. Speaking of like they said, Memphis. I remember, like I said, Mayor Paul Young was on Kelly Clarkson's show saying that Memphis is the blackest city in America. Kelly Clarkson told him that Memphis is the blackest city as far as majority, as far as percentage wise in the population. We got an overwhelmingly Black majority. And my thing is, when I heard that, I started thinking, so if we are a majority Black city or chocolate city, how many government contracts, how many county and city contracts go to Black owned businesses in Memphis? Not people of color, BIPOC, all that. Black Americans. How many Black Americans got access to that type of capital? How many? That's a question I want to know, because if it's less than 1%, which is more than likely is, what's the point of having all this blackness with no money in the bank? Money in the bank. How you gonna be Black and not being a Black? You understand? How you gonna be Black and not being a Black? So my thing is, this is a failure because this is not Wakanda. This is Candyland. And what I mean by Candyland, I'm talking about the Django Unchained movie, where Memphis is basically a plantation town. This is not Wakanda by any means. Because I even like, you look at Memphis and Atlanta, you compare and contrast Memphis and Atlanta. I always tell people my observations because I really wasn't all into Atlanta like that. But as I've been going back to Atlanta over the years and visiting with family and friends and doing business, I realized why Atlanta is so alluring, or it calls out to our people. Uh, I tell people all the time, the difference between Atlanta and Memphis. Atlanta, they love money more than they hate black people. The powers that be down there love money more than they hate black people. In Memphis, the so-called powers they think they be, they hate black people more than they love money. They hate black people more than they love money. Atlanta don't have to like you, but they'll do business with you, because if you make some money, I'm gonna make me some money. Memphis, like, we don't care how talented and intelligent or how great your plan is, we're not gonna support it. And that's the powers that think they be, that they run the show, but God got the final say. So what I'm saying, Memphis was not always like this. Memphis was not always like this. And I'm gonna tell a quick thing about why Memphis is the way it is today. And it's funny to me because Memphis like is the most dangerous city. It's top five. You know why y'all think Memphis is so dangerous? I mean, it's some crazy stuff goes on, but I'm not afraid to go outside and take my chances. I mean, I go to the grocery store, I go running and walking. I still live my life. I don't live in fear. I walk in faith. I don't live in fear. I walk in faith. I don't live in fear. I walk in faith. So with that said, um, Memphis overreports its crime statistics. Other big cities underreport their crime, or they'll numbers don't lie, but people do. People have agendas, so they'll shape the narrative in a way that could be misleading. It's kind of like when you go to vote and people talk about voting is so important. How come I can't understand what I'm voting for when it comes to so-called amendments? Amendments, when they go voting for a candidate and then they have these amendments, you got to vote on yay or nay. If I vote yay, is that really no? Or if I vote no, is that really yes? I'm not the only person. Can you stop putting all this in legalese and make it plain? Because the majority of the country I see in D students, we're not no Mensa club and all that, because we've been dumbed down by the system not to overstand or understand the basics. So when you go to votes and they give you all this stuff to vote for, but these amendments that they want you to vote for, and yay or nay, and you can't figure out. If I say yay, is that no? If I say no, is that yay? Okay, you know, stuff will have you confused, like how some of y'all be confused about the talkings of Kanye West. That's how confusing it is to vote. So why y'all think that's so important when they don't even want you to know what you voting for? Or they won't even allow you to vote for certain people for whatever reason. So with Memphis, reason why Memphis the way it is, one person, Boss Crump, E.H. Crump, Edward Hull Crump, one of the most powerful political bosses in U.S. history, ran Memphis for decades. And Memphis was unique in the South because black folks could actually vote in Memphis, but as long as they voted Democratic. Joe Biden, what did he say 4 years ago? If you don't vote Democrat, you ain't black. Boss Crump was from Holly Springs, Mississippi. So he was from the South. Joe Biden's mentors, two of them, James Eastland, a senator from Mississippi, John Stennis, a senator from Mississippi, they trained Joe Biden. Malcolm X, the one y'all say y'all love so much, he warned us about these Dixiecrats, these Democrats, these folks that come at you like foxes, these so-called white liberals. They hide their canines like a fox does. he warned you about the Eastlands and the Stennises and stuff like that. Robert Byrd, who was a imperial wizard, whatever, in West Virginia, a Democrat, Robert Byrd, U.S. Senator, long time. He also was a mentor to Joe Biden. So when Joe Biden said that, he overstood the assignment. He is a Dixiecrat's wet dream. You know what I'm saying? Like, he overstood the assignment, and we keep on falling for the okie doke. You know, so Boss Crump let black people vote, but he had to utilize prominent black businessmen in order to secure the black vote. One black businessman that he utilized was Robert Church Jr., who was the son of Robert Church Sr., the first black millionaire of the South. Robert Church Jr. started the Lincoln League in Memphis to help register black voters. So, and also he was a very powerful Republican in the nation. He's like one of the most powerful Republicans, black or white, in the nation. He was a delegate to the convention, I think, several times, and he also was offered like office. They wanted to, appoint him to an office. He refused several times, but he really loved black people. He wanted to empower black people, and his father actually started the Solvent Savings Bank on Bill Street back in the day, and the Solvent Savings Bank was the first black-owned bank in the country to have $1 million in assets. Think about it. This is like back in the early 1900s. I think he started the Solvent Bank maybe in the late 1890s. Y'all look that up. Take a look. It's all online. But it was the first black-owned bank in the country to have $1 million in assets. And his goal was to invest in black home ownership and black businesses. So you had a black business elite class of black men who were proud race men who's looking out for the black community. So Boss Crump, uh, he was, he got in good with Robert Church Jr. in order to secure that black vote. And then you had, I think J.J. Martin, if I'm not mistaken, of the Martin brothers. He owned the Memphis Red Sox of the American Negro Leagues, or the Negro American Leagues, or whatever. Let me look them up. J.J. Martin got off cold with Boss Crump. I'm trying to see if I can do a quick look. I just want to give y'all this history lesson because it is said that we the so-called blackest town in the country. Okay, I'm trying to see. I want to say his name right. So many Martins. It's a common name, right? Uh huh. Well, anyway, but it was a Martin brother that owned the Memphis Red Sox, right? It was a Negro Leagues team. They were proud black Republicans. He also owned a pharmacy, like a very nice pharmacy he owned. He made his living being a pharmacist. And he decided to go for the presidential candidate, the Republican J.B. Martin. Yeah, J.B. Martin. He said J.B. Martin, a member of the prominent Martin family, well known because of their social and sporting endeavors. This dentist was a co-owner and a club officer for the Memphis Red Sox and the Chicago American Giants. He also operated a drugstore and a funeral home and had investments in real estate. So this was a very wealthy black man. This is Memphis, right? Y'all always talking about Atlanta and all that. This is Memphis. And he built his own ballpark, one of the first probably black owned ballparks. He built it himself for his team, the Memphis Red Sox, right? In addition, during his association with the Red Sox and the American Giants, he also served as president of three different leagues: the Negro League, the Negro Southern League, excuse me, the Negro American League, and the Negro Dixie League. He should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. But anyway, J.B. Martin, prominent black businessman, he wanted to endorse the Republican presidential candidate Wendell Willkie back in 1940, and Boss Crump got very upset because Boss Crump was very close to Franklin Roosevelt. Because what Boss Crump did, he utilized the black vote in order to create a powerful democratic machine in Memphis that helped get I think Franklin Roosevelt Tennessee. So he was helped by black people in order to enslave them. It's similar to what black people, a lot of black folks voted for Woodrow Wilson, who ended up resegregating Washington, D.C. and the federal government. A lot of black people, a lot of so called black leaders wanted black folks to vote for Woodrow Wilson. And he's the guy who endorsed the movie Birth of a Nation, which led to the revival of the Ku Klux Klan in at the White House with a screening. He said it was like writing history with lightning. That's Woodrow Wilson that black folks voted for. But it's like go back to what Joe Biden said: if you don't vote Democrat, you ain't black. That means you gotta be a slave. They want you to be a slave to that plantation, politically and ideologically. Ideologically. Okay. Ideology, whatever. Anyway, y'all get what I'm saying. But Martin brother, Crump utilized and abused his power to basically run Martin out of town. Martin was about to throw out a pitch at a Negro Leagues game, and then the police arrested him. They harassed him, and then they ran him out of town. He tried to get Eleanor Roosevelt to help, but she wouldn't help because she was told not to speak out about it because Boss Crump was very close politically to Franklin Roosevelt, the president. And the same Franklin Roosevelt that did not allow Jesse Owens to visit the White House, I believe, when he won at the Olympics. Y'all always talking about Hitler and stuff, but what about our own people or our own government, how it treats us? They don't really care about us, right? So with that said, J.B. Martin was ran out of Memphis, and he was not even allowed to come back to Memphis. He asked for he requested the Department of Justice, can they allow him to come back to Memphis to organize his affairs, and they wouldn't let him come back. But he's buried in Memphis along with his family in Elmwood Cemetery, right next to the mausoleum of Robert Church Sr. and his family, which also includes Robert Church Jr. And Boss Crump is buried in the same cemetery at the front of the cemetery. And the thing about it is, Boss Crump made sure that any monument of greatness that would honor the Church family was destroyed in Memphis. The church auditorium was built by Robert Church Sr. It had people like it could seat thousands of people. W.C. Handy was the orchestra leader for that venue, and people like Booker T. Washington and President Teddy Roosevelt would speak to thousands of black people at that venue, one of the first black-owned auditoriums in the country. And right across the street from there was the Solvent Savings Bank, which was the first black bank to have $1 million in assets. So the Crump people destroyed that auditorium. They razed it. And then to add further insult to injury, Boss Crump destroyed the Church family mansion. It was a very extravagant mansion. And he destroyed it to demonstrate new fire equipment back in 1953. Now, Boss Crump ended up dying in 1954 at the age of 80. But before he got out of here, he made sure he destroyed any like less than powerful memory of the Church family in Memphis. He also ran the family out of Memphis. Robert Church Jr. joined Martin in Chicago, I believe, or whatever he was at. They got ran out of here. And so when they did that, Memphis 60 years ago was right up there with Atlanta, Dallas, and Nashville. They were all the same 60 years ago. 60 years later, Memphis is left behind. Dallas is booming. Atlanta and Nashville are booming. Memphis is not booming, right? But that goes back to the legacy of Jim Crow practices that we allow ourselves to choose to be slaves, to stay in our place. Because like Boss Crump hired the first black police officers of the modern era in Memphis. But what people don't understand was the fact that black police officers were not allowed to arrest white people. I'm thinking they could see a white person commit a crime, it could be any type of crime, and they were not allowed to arrest white people. How are you gonna be police and not, be able to have the law, not be able to be allowed to practice the law on everybody that are so-called citizens? So this is the type of treatment that we put up with, that we allow ourselves to be a victim to. And but that's about it. Because like even today, It's the wealthy white elites that call the shots in Memphis. Memphis is not a poor city. Memphis got a lot of money, but it's not shared with the majority of the people that live here. That money is well consecrated or concentrated into a small group of people, like white elites. They control the purse strings to that money. Even actual government money here in the city. And you got a lot of Fortune 500 companies headquartered here. Elon Musk is trying to build his supercomputer in Memphis, try to take advantage of all that good water we got. And people actually think that's going to create jobs, going to create a headache. And because there's a lot of things that's done in Memphis, it's very corrupt. But anything is only as corrupt as you make it to be. I believe that we could have some good people come in and clean up some things, not just in Memphis, but around the country, because we need good people in positions to just to be public servants. They don't have to be, because a lot of people get into politics to make money for themselves and their inner circle and not help the people. But we need good people in there that's willing to serve the people, put the public interest above their own interest, and also while you're doing it, you're able to get compensated and take care of yourself and your family. But you don't have to be greedy. You could take, but don't take too much. You understand? So with that said, um, Dr. King came here for a reason. You know, they got Dr. King here. They couldn't get him in Atlanta. They couldn't get him in LA or Louisville. They got him in Memphis right before the Poor People campaign. But if you listen to the last speech of Dr. King, he talked about how he wanted black folks to invest in black businesses like banks and insurance companies. He told black people to boycott Wonder Bread, Hearts Bread, Coca Cola, places that'll take your money but won't give you a job. He basically said, what good is it to be able to sit in an integrated restaurant if you can't afford the hamburger? What good is that? It's no good. So with that said, uh, Memphis is it's not punished because of King. That King thing, because they killed President Kennedy in Dallas, and Dallas is booming. So it's not about, oh, Dr. King got killed here. We curse. We're not cursed. We curse because we lack knowledge of self. We curse because we're not students of history. We curse because we're not willing to take a chance on freedom. Freedom ain't free. And people talk about freedom, but like Malcolm said, if you ain't willing to die for it, get the word freedom out your vocabulary, to paraphrase Brother Malcolm. But the thing about it is, uh, this is not Wakanda. This can be a paradise on earth for black people. But it's got to be some people that be willing to make that sacrifice to tell these people no. It's like what Cat Williams said, Diddy likes the party, but sometimes you got to tell him no. And I told the mayor-elect Paul Young before he became mayor back in March of 2023, I met him at Lemoyne Owen while he was campaigning. It was like my second time engaging him because it was some white person that introduced me to him before. And I always think when white people love you like that, I don't know how good you could be to your people. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like this white guy, he was singing his praises. You got to meet him, brother Ron. You got to meet him. I love this guy. And it don't be not. I mean, white. I think white people like me. Some white people like me, but it's crazy to me because I like to talk loud on my cell phone. So I was working out and I was talking to a friend of mine about how the government neutralized and destroyed black leadership and all this stuff. I'm spitting facts, right? And this elderly white couple walking their dog, they looked at me. I looked at them and said, "How you doing?" And they ain't say shit to me. Oh, excuse me, they ain't say nothing to me. But as soon as I was walking past, I walked past them. They told the people walking behind me, "He's prejudiced." And I said, "Lady, everybody's prejudiced." And I kept walking. I didn't stop walking. I said it where she could hear me. Lady, everybody's prejudiced. That's what human beings are. We all prejudiced. Racism and prejudice and bias, two different things, three different things, whatever. Everybody prejudice, everybody can be biased, but everybody can't be a racist. That deals with a power dynamic. And when you're a racist, don't mean you hate anybody. It means you just love yourself enough to put yourself in a position to win, to put you and your people in a position to win and have leverage. That's all that means. It's a race. Racing for resources, like Dr. Clyde Anderson would say. But it's very important. And I believe that we are so-called black Mecca. We the blackest city in the country. We should have some of the blackest media in the country. We don't have that. And no disrespect to the Memphis Tri-State Defender. No disrespect to that. No disrespect to the honorable brother Thaddeus Matthews. But I'm saying like we don't have a real black media juggernaut that is befitting of a the blackest city in the country. We don't have any media that is really about a black American first agenda. And I would love to create something like that. That's been on my mind, but I'm only one person. And y'all asking like, when you gonna come back on the show? I've been like, go to my Rumble TV, go to that Rumble TV, go to We All Be TV too, sign up, and also you could catch me on We All Be News on Spotify. I'm trying to really ramp this up, but I really need request y'all like support this cause because I would like to come on air more often. I have a lot to share. I don't want to be quiet. I know people need to hear from different voices from time to time, but this is the spirit of the time propels me or compels me to reach out to you all to reconnect, to let you know I'm still here. Just been a interesting year I've been through, man. I just like this year was great. I mean, like the 21st March, 1 year anniversary that I didn't think I would be able to get through. And that's important that I'm here with this message of hope. And I really love my people, but support the movement, man. Support what we do so we can support y'all. And we don't have a black media. Think about we had like a Ida B. Wells Barnett, born in Holly Springs, like Boss Crump and Robert Church Sr. She was a Memphis citizen. She had her newspaper, The Free Speech and Headlight, that talks about Black American agenda, that talks about race relations, that talked about the evils done against Black folk in terms of the lynchings and stuff like that. And she was think by being alienated. She talked about the teaching and learning conditions of the school for teachers, Black teachers and Black students. The Black people kicked her out the school system. Then she started talking about the real nature of the lynchings, why these Black men were being lynched. Like one of her best friends, the businessman and prominent Black leader, prominent businessman Thomas Moss, who was killed because he had a successful grocery store, the People's Grocery Store. And by her telling the truth about the real relationship dynamic between Black men and Black and white women, excuse me, they ran her out the South. They destroyed her newspaper office. They said if she ever came back, she'd be shot on sight. So luckily she was out of town when they ransacked her newspaper office. But I'm saying like she's to me the mother of American investigative journalism. Ida B. Wells Barnett, not Nellie Bly, but Ida B. Wells Barnett. You know what I'm saying? A former enslaved person from Mississippi. You know, that's the real mother of American investigative journalism. And that was real Black press in Memphis. Then, Tri-State Defender back in this day had like a person like the award-winning editor out said L. Alex, Mr. Wilson. I got, let me try to make sure I'm present. Alexis, I think it's Alexis Wilson. Say L. I'm trying to look up these people as they pop in my mind. I want to get their name. L. Alex Wilson. Yeah, L. Alex Wilson. Wilson was the editor of the Tri-State Defender back in the day. He was an amazing journalist and all this stuff, and he basically risked his life to help empower his people through the written word. He was the guy that got Ernest Withers and others to cover the Emmett Till trial. Down, or I say Emmett Till, I mean the guys who killed and kidnapped Emmett Till, the Bryant brothers trial. So that's why Ernest Withers was able to get that picture, that famous picture of Emmett Till's great uncle, Mose Wright, pointing out in the crowd to the people who killed his nephew, his grandnephew. And there they be, right? That finger pointing, testifying against the man who traumatized his family and ended the life of one of his relatives. But Mr. Wilson, unfortunately, he covered the Little Rock 9 integration situation in Little Rock, Arkansas. And there's footage of him. He was a tall, skinny black man. And there's footage of him getting beat up by a white mob. But had he not get beat up by the white mob, those same white folks could have did harm to those black students, Little Rock Nine, as they was integrating. He served actually as an unfortunate distraction to the white mob doing harm to those black kids. So they end up taking all their hatred and aggression out on him. And there's footage of him getting beat down, kicked, and everything. Him trying to pick up his head and keep on hitting him. And I believe he died prematurely in 1960 because this was like what 57. He died in 1960s, probably from complications from being beat up. But it was delayed until 3 years later, and then he succumbed to his injuries. But he was a brave, pioneering investigative journalist and newspaper editor. Even I think about Arkansas, Little Rock Nine. If it wasn't for Daisy Bates, who also owned a newspaper, I think as well, and was working with the NACP, Daisy Bates, the Little Rock Nine thing. But we had, the black press was very important. The Emmett Till photograph would not have been published if it wasn't for Jet Magazine. Mr. Johnson, he published that. He was from Arkansas. Let me see. John H. Johnson, right? I'm trying to make sure I said his name right. John Harold Johnson is from Little Rock, Arkansas City, Arkansas. He ran the image of Emmett Till in his newspaper, right? In his magazine, his Jet magazine. And that really helped shift the focus and help galvanize the modern day civil rights movement, because Rosa Parks would be asked, years later, whatever, what was she thinking as she was refusing to move out of her seat. She said she was thinking about Emmett Till, thinking about what happened to him. And then days before that, you had Dr. T.I.M. Howard speak at Dexter Avenue Church with Dr. King presided. He spoke to the crowd about Emmett Till. Dr. T.I.M. Howard was the wealthiest black man in Mississippi back in the 40s and 50s. He was a surgeon in Mound Bayou, Mississippi. He built the first black swimming pool for black people in Mississippi, had his own zoo and everything in Mound Bayou, was an entrepreneur, was an amazing, larger than life figure who went like big game hunting in Africa. He was living large and in charge, but he loved black people. He actually gave Medgar Evers a job at his insurance company. He basically helped both Medgar Evers and his brother Charles with employment and leadership. But he helped, investigate what happened to Emmett Till. He was involved with Medgar Evers in gathering witnesses and evidence. And when Mamie Till came for the trial of the men who were accused of killing her son, she stayed at the home of Dr. Howard in Mound Bayou. And he believed in the right to utilize the Second Amendment, and she felt well protected, because he had round the clock security. So you had some fearless, or I ain't gonna say fearless, you had some very courageous black folks that stood up. But I'm talking about black men, taking, like, I'm talking about L. Alex Wilson, I'm talking about John H. Johnson, I'm talking about Dr. Howard, Medgar Evers, people like that. Where are the brothers like that? Don't tell me we have. I'm talking about like in the mainstream. Where is the talking head that really advocates for Black Americans first and foremost? Not neglecting anybody else, but there is no special organization, and the NACP is not the National Investment for the Association of Black People. It's colored people. So color is vague. But I'm talking about people that have been discriminated against, been exploited by the system for generations. Who advocates for those people? That really is the problem. And also, we don't have media that know how to message properly what we need. We don't. I want to be a part of the solution. I believe this, even just doing this talk, is something. It's just you don't have to agree with me just to provoke thought. You know what I'm saying? I think it's very important to have conversation, dialogue, because I feel I get criminalized and demonized for just having my own point of view. And really, that what helped me to survive for so long by looking at the world different from everybody else. But so much I want to say. I think like, did I cover all the topics? I don't. I just freestyle. I'm like Kendrick Lamar in that way, freestyling. Okay, I basically cover. But let's see what y'all say in the comments. Okay, man, you very active, man. I see. What's up, man, brother Sean? Thanks for checking in, to tune out, to tune in, to get in where you fit in with brother Ron and we all be. We love you madly. The late night, in the late night. Okay, are you good, man? I'm just trying to. Yeah, this is my artwork back here, man. Yeah, I got Jack Johnson back here. Got Burt Williams, the great Burt Williams, black comic genius back there. Did Mike Brown. That was actually featured in Vice magazine when they covered the Ferguson thing. A friend of mine's, Frida Wheaton, had an art gallery exhibit about Ferguson, and she utilized black artists. And she asked me to do a work about Mike Brown, and not just about Mike Brown, but something in response to Ferguson. And I actually did that in my hotel room right before I turned it in to her, and it made Vice magazine put it in their article highlighting the creative response to the Ferguson uprising. So yeah, this is my artwork back here. I got it's Black Music Month, so I got a lot of work. Matter of fact, that reminds me. Let me see. Yeah, we all be y'all. It is interesting being back. Sometimes I be dragging my feet, but then once I get here, right? Let me see something. So much stuff going on. Also, yeah, talking about MAGA. Talk about Trump, man. I think it's very fascinating what's happening with the Trump situation. Very fascinating. But before we get all to that, let me allow me to introduce myself, my artwork. There you go, folks. You can wear my art, buy it. I'm just typing a little note. There's the Trump guys. Yes, indeed. Yeah, buy support what we do, man. Because this is like I think it's good artwork. Like these are my t-shirts. It's my grandfather. His birthday was June 20th. Soldier Boy Grip. Did it to honor him. Got the Machiavelli. Got Tupac. I got a lot of art I've been doing over the years. I decided to put a lot of my work on shirts, but I got a lot of work. I'm very prolific. I got rooms full of art. But buy this stuff. It's not, you help me support a good cause. Like I said, I'm trying to get back in on track, y'all. If you want to hear more lives, please support. Think about supporting. Be a Patreon. I'm gonna do a lot of updates. Matter of fact, on my Patreon, I'm gonna start uploading my band videos from YouTube. YouTube had took off several of my Judge Joe Browns and Dick Gregory's and Dr. Randy Short interviews, saying it violates community guidelines. So what I'm gonna do for my patron people, I'm gonna take care of y'all really good. Y'all been very patient. I'm gonna take care of y'all real good. I'm gonna let that be allowed to be available to you all. for the paying. If you just donate something and become a regular donating person, you'll get access to all these videos that YouTube took down. That's the Eminem brothers. You know, good stuff, right? Good stuff. Okay. Yeah. So what they said, somebody said the Trump guy said Donald Trump to me is the great orange hope. I look forward to voting for Donald Trump a third straight time, not because I hate myself, but because I love my country. And he's really like the last patriot in the political game to me. I mean, as far as president, I think Donald Trump is so grossly misunderstood or misunderstood. Excuse me. Uh, to me, to be honest, I was conceived and born during the Jimmy Carter administration. I actually had a chance to meet President Carter and his wife Rosalind at the church down in Plains, Georgia, back in 2015. They were really cool. God bless her. And Jimmy, if he make it to October, will be 100 years young. Uh, but anyway, I believe that Donald Trump is the greatest president of my lifetime. Nobody compares to Donald Trump. People don't understand the stuff he's up against. Like people want to act like, oh, he's old and his health is declining. Think about all the stress and duress he's under, like the attack, the abuse of power that these people have. It's outrageous that black people, especially, we loved Donald Trump 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even on The Apprentice. You know, rappers love to make rap songs about Donald Trump and stuff like that, but now he's hated. Um, y'all talk about, well, Donald Trump discriminated against black renters. Well, he gave Black Panthers affordable housing and rent in New York City. According to Dave Hilliard, one of the co-founding members of the Black Panther Party, he said Donald Trump helped them get real estate in Harlem. Because he said he owned everything in Harlem, but he helped the Black Panther Party get some type of housing in Harlem, affordable housing. Joe Biden gave black people affordable housing in prison with the crime bills. So how does that compare? Then y'all talking about Central Park Five. Central Park Five, Donald Trump was not even in office. He was not the mayor of New York. He was not the district attorney. He was not the governor. He was not an alderman. He had no political power to abuse those black boys. He didn't even do it. Matter of fact, which is interesting to me, uh, what's interesting to me is that I talked about Emmett Till. I talked about Senator James Eastland, who was a Mississippi senator, who was a Democrat, a Dixiecrat. What he did to help get those boys off of kidnapping charges, the Bryan brothers who kidnapped and tortured and killed Emmett Till, he leaked the confidential files of Emmett Till's father, Louis Till, who was in World War II, who was put to death by the military under questionable circumstances. And then it really needs to be investigated. And what happened was that for years, Mamie Till and the family wanted to find out what happened to Emmett Till's father. You gotta remember the only way Mamie Till could really identify Emmett Till was by the ring. They had the initials LT. That was Emmett's father ring that she gave to him. So she was able to, identify him through that because they really did a number on Emmett Till. And so they trying to find out for years from the government what happened to Louis Till, what was the real story, and they kept getting stonewalled because he's buried overseas. Emmett Till's father, I believe, in France, and in a section of the U.S. military grave that that note the notes people who I guess they didn't get a dishonorable discharge. Let's put it like that. And Emmett Till father was accused of raping, silent G, raping, and deleting white European women. He was accused of this, him and his black co-defendant, Fred McMurray, not the white actor, but there's a black guy named Fred McMurray that was a co-defendant with Louis Till, Emmett's father. And they was found guilty. What was interesting from my understanding, what I researched a little bit, was that the women who were survivors refused to say that they did it. They did not say they didn't. They said they didn't support that these guys were responsible for what happened to them, and that didn't really need to matter because they was guilty because the sin is in their skin. They were black, so they were put to death. And the family was kept in the dark about the details and circumstances related to the death. But James Eastland, in order to save the white brothers, leaked that information to the press. And so people said, if his father was accused and put to death for this, who's to say that the fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree? So Emmett Till was found guilty. When they were trying to, he was put on trial. Emmett Till and his father was put on trial after the fact. That's what they do. Like, you look at some of the recent cases like Trayvon Martin or Mike Brown, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, you put the guilt on the victims. It's crazy. But anyway, the Trump thing, I never seen a president get treated like this. This is just insane, the treatment of Donald Trump. And he has done a lot of things for black people. Now he could do more things for black people. He said, I have done more for black people than since Lincoln. And people said that's not true. I said, well, let's make it true because a lot of stuff that he did do has done for black people gets underreported or spent, and people would say, well, black people, y'all just want stimulus checks. I believe we do need some relief. I mean, they're giving the illegal immigrants all the monies and a place to stay. Meanwhile, your mama and grandma about to get kicked out their home and apartment stuff, and y'all talking about, y'all just want some stimulus checks. Hey, we need some relief. I mean, inflation is no joke. So we're gonna do a more in-depth Trump show, the Trump Geist, as I say, about President Trump. And he is really a people's champ. Like I tell people, I believe this now, that President Trump is the reincarnation of Jack Johnson, the great black hope. Jack Johnson was very misunderstood by not only white people but also black people. And same thing, Donald Trump is very conflicted, very polarizing. But to me, to be polarizing means that there's a sign of greatness, whether it be Donald Trump or Ye or Pac or whoever. That's a sign of greatness there. So that's gonna be an interesting show. Yeah. Yes, we all be TV too. The other outlet is we all be. Let me put it up there. Y'all gotta stay on YouTube. Go to there. Subscribe to We All Be TV too. Let's get it up to where it needs to be. I'll go on this journey with y'all. You go. We All Be TV too. There you go. Okay, Kyle, he said, even the show with the Def Jam folks, but that much effort in Drake, I don't know. He was holding us back. LOL. And you right, everyone ate off him, and all this seems to be about him with others women. Okay, I mean, everything's still a distraction. Like the thing, it was a feel good moment. That Drake concert, it was like it was cool. Was it everything people said it was? It's all right. It was a feel good moment. We gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. But my thing is, uh, I just think it's strange that people y'all loving Hotline Bling and all this stuff from Drake, and all of a sudden Drake is like, oh man, he's not hip hop, he's not this and that. Whatever. It's like with Trump. People loved him at one point, now they hate him. Like rappers used to love Trump. A lot of rappers used to rap about Trump, and now I don't can't stand Trump. And like it's weird that you try to talk to people you think got some intelligence, Soon you mention Trump or they hear the name Trump or see his image, they get deranged. That Trump derangement syndrome is for real, for real. Because even with Joe Biden, I wouldn't even wish what they did to Trump on Joe Biden. Now his son Hunter, you look, the fruit don't fall too far from the tree, right? But look at, I think Donald Trump, what people missing out on Trump is, you look at, he's fighting. He's a fighter, like Jack Johnson was a fighter. By the way, Donald Trump had the courage to pardon Jack Johnson where Barack Obama couldn't, and Barack Obama was afraid of his own black shadow. But the orange one actually pardoned Jack Johnson. That was a moment made for Barack Obama. Barack Obama claimed he's Chicago. Jack Johnson's buried in Chicago. He used to live in Chicago. He's buried in Chicago. So what's the problem, Mr. President? But Donald Trump did what you couldn't do. And Donald Trump is really showing his son how to fight for what he wants, how to fight for his life, his legacy, fight for what is right. I'm talking about Barron Trump. Well, people trying to make fun of Barron. Barron, from my understanding, is very intelligent, very, very intelligent young man. He look like almost 7 feet tall. But I think Trump is getting him ready for the next chapter. Like he's gonna pass the torch to his son. But to me, I don't know, man. What do y'all have to lose by giving this man a chance to help us win? Anyway. I'm now thinking, do people treat Drake like he's Trump now? But anyway, you like the words from Brother Heard, please spread the word. We back. We back. And we also need y'all support. And we're looking forward to that support. You can cash out your support, $ R2C2H2. That's $ R2C2H2 for the cash app. PayPal, Google Pay, and Zelle. Email R2C2H2. Everything's running down here. R2C2H2 at gmail.com. You can Vimo your support at R2C2H2. Apple Cash 901-299-4355. And think about joining our Patreon at We All Be. That's patreon.com at We All Be. Let me see. And I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I will read a disclaimer, but I guess it don't make a difference because they like to remove my videos, even if I have a disclaimer. But it is what it is. All is fair, right? Put the Patreon out here for y'all. I started updating. Like I said, we're gonna start. We're gonna start uploading the band videos off of YouTube to my Patreon page. For our supporters, the people who actually donate, y'all have access to the band videos because they banned a couple of my videos earlier this month and late last month. But we're gonna post those. Supporters in Patreon, or you, like I said, cash out. Sister Yvette, thank you. Thank you for joining. True Trooper, choose 901. Yay, yay. Baby. Yeah, Barrett gonna be something to reckon with. He gonna get that. He's gonna be like if his daddy's Vito Corleone, he's Michael Corleone. He's getting ready for Freddie. He's getting ready. I said ready for Freddie. I don't know. I'm trying to rhyme. But the Patreon's right there, y'all. It's like that, y'all. It's like that, like that. Let me see. Like I said, we're gonna start posting the band videos on the Patreon. And there you go. I have to update the page, but I'm back to posting. I'm back to posting on the Patreon. Like I said, I went to Juneteenth. I went to Galveston Island and stuff like that for Juneteenth. Not for Juneteenth, but this is back in 2013 when I went to Galveston. And I was at the Ashton Villa. And that statue is actually of Texas State Rep A.L.L. Edwards. He was a black man who was a politician in Texas politics for almost 30 years. He was the one that advocated to make it law in Texas to celebrate Juneteenth, to make it official. But he's never talked about his thing. He passed away, I believe, in 2008 or somewhere along those lines. But anyway, there you go, folks. Nothing but a gangster party. But I'll be posting all the videos that got censored and removed and banned off of YouTube. They'll be going there. And let's see. And also y'all can buy product. I got, I'm reposting. It's like everything I'm like doing it from scratch or something. Like I'm started from the bottom, now we're here. Type of thing where I gotta get the work out there again. Y'all could go to the okay. Let's see. Go to the Teespring or the R2C2H2 place. Go there. See all the goody stuff. Good, good, good. Yep. Jesus walks. Jesus walk with me. Different colors. Get it. All type of stuff. Not just t-shirts, but also sweaters, pulleys or hoodies, what they call it. All types of different stuff. Even mugs and stickers. We got available. We got it all. Let's see. Post a link to the. Yep, it is fascinating. I'm back in the game. It feels good to be back. I'm glad to be back. Thank y'all for welcoming me back here. Really appreciate it. Okay, so that does it for this edition of We All Be Entered. Living history, the herd mentality, the no group think zone. It's been a pleasure, you all. So I show y'all the different ways, and also Rumble TV. Check it out on Rumble TV. Get all this together. Woo, y'all taking me on a ride. Check it out on Rumble TV, y'all. Subscribe to Rumble TV if you can. Post that. Get it done. Show that here. Okay, I think we did a good job. Thank y'all for being so patient, for joining me, for helping me get back into the swing of things. We're gonna see what's gonna happen, man. I'm gonna leave it in God's hands. I'm leaving it in y'all hands. If y'all want Brother Ron to continue to spread the word, to show your support, and I will do that, and I will ride for y'all with no problem. Yes, indeedy. Okay, so I guess keep it simple. Thank y'all. Y'all have a wonderful night. Thank y'all for spending this time with me. Spread the word. I got this set up on different platforms. Uh, I'm here for the people. I have a message that I want to deliver, and I look forward to keep on giving you the news, whether it be good, bad, or ugly. I will give you what you need to hear, and whatever you decide to do with it is on you, because we all be in it to win it. All right. One love from Brother Ron. The do Ron. Yay, yay.